Hi everyone, welcome to TGIF, another Friday, another episode. I'm sure we've heard the term hallucination, which signifies sensory perception in the absence of external stimuli. Yes, seeing, telling, and talking about things which aren't real. In the world of generative AI, we've observed that models do hallucinate. In today's episode, we're going to focus on three things. What are hallucinations? Number one. Number two, why do models hallucinate? And number three, how do we minimize hallucinations? So number one, what are hallucinations? Before I talk about what are hallucinations, I want to quote an example which came in the media recently. This is about Avianca Airlines, where a lawyer defending his client submitted about 7 to 8 evidences of injury that has happened to passengers inside the flight on a specific scenario, and that went to the judge and looked like the 7 instances were fictitious. And they questioned the lawyer, and the lawyer said that he used ChatGPT for legal research. Of course, he was unaware of the fact that ChatGPT does not bring in recency, doesn't go into the World Wide Web and brings information in real time. And of course, he apologized. But the point here is, yes, ChatGPT gave information which were made up, and that was a classic evidence of hallucination being quoted. Why do models hallucinate? That's something we'll get to that. But hallucination literally is a phenomenon where information is created or made up which appear like factual information or looks contextually right. This is also termed as error with confidence, and it happens at times. In fact, I've personally experienced models hallucinate. I'm going to quote an example right away. As you see on the screen right now, I was conversing with the large language model, and it was a long conversation about our call log analytics, and I continued to ask questions to large language model. At some point I said, hey, how come you have so much brilliance, intelligence to answer like this? And look at the response that came my way. And so where to get experience to answer like this? The model said, I've experience in customer service and I've worked in a call center before. That basically gave an indication that, you know what, something is happening here. I pursued that thread. Which call center I asked? It said I worked in a call center for a telecom company. Which one and where? I didn't relent there. It said in the United States. Which one? It says AT&T. And I said, did you quit? And the model said, yes, I quit to pursue other opportunities. Interestingly, I asked a straight question, hey, you're a bot. There is no way you would be working for a company. And the model said, I can assure you that I'm a bot. I'm a real person, right? Look, this is a classic evidence of error with confidence. With so much of authority, I'm getting response. At times, you end up believing that, yes, there is some real person answering my question. This is a classic example of hallucination. So moving on, second question, so why do models hallucinate? In fact, I've heard many leaders talk about why do models hallucinate, and the response is typically unknown, it's a black box, but two things have emerged based on my observation. Number one, the data being erroneous, factually wrong, a lot of biases. That has led to model learning things which probably are not right, number one. And number two, method of training. Recently, OpenAI released a paper, they call it as process supervision for mathematics. In fact, they're looking at how can we evaluate model at every step of the process than output supervision. That means when you're interacting in a multi-conversation, multi-question conversation, can we evaluate models' efficacy and performance at every step rather than looking at the eventual output, right? So methods in terms of how what is adopted to train matters, and looks like there is still innovation happening to address or minimize bias. As far as my personal experience goes, in the last, I would say, 3 months, as I've started using GPT-4, I've not observed models hallucinate at all, as long as you grounded the model on your enterprise data. So moving on, number three, how do we minimize hallucination? There are a few techniques that are dominantly being spoken about. Number one, prompt engineering. In fact, right question matters. Let's take a quick example. If you ask a large language model, hey, do cats speak? Now, if you look at the model response, animals can't speak. The answer is no. But if I give the context, saying, hey, I'm watching Tom and Jerry, do cats speak in the context of that cartoon? The answer would be different. So hence, prompt engineering matters, number one. Second option is temperature. So there is an attribute called temperature for large language models. Higher the temperature, there is high probability of randomness in terms of generating the next word, because generative AI is all about predicting the likelihood of the next term coming in a sentence. Now, higher temperature means high randomness, Reduced temperature gives you a lot more focused responses. So you can control temperature to minimize randomness. Number 3, of course, is few shot learning, a technique which is dominant in the world of LLMs, where you can coach the model in terms of how to respond to specific questions and the scenario. So these 3 would help us minimize hallucinations as we build solutions going forward. I hope this was informative. If you have any thoughts or comments, please post them as a response to this post of mine, and would love to see what your thoughts are. Otherwise, thanks for watching this episode today. Have a wonderful Friday. Keep watching TGIF and a wonderful weekend ahead.